Welcome back to the Pleb Underground. Guys, daily live show. Great to be back. In case you missed yesterday's awesome interview with Ulrich and Jeff Booth, don't forget to check it out. I'm going to put a link to it in the show notes. Well, since I didn't do a daily episode yesterday, we've got a lot of news to cover. We are going to get right into it. We've got the digital asset report that's due out tomorrow. We've got some interesting stats about Bitcoin. There's a new product, a mesh messaging service from Jack Dorsey that was released today, right? BitChat, PayPal, obviously diving into the world of crypto. What a surprise. Yeah, we've got another public company that, wow, has announced a Bitcoin treasury. We're going to take a look at them. We're also going to take a look at this, the 80K BTC that was sold. A lot of people giving their takes on it. And of course, right, I got to give my take on it. We also got a little clip from Bill Miller saying the quiet part out loud. And Cold Card up to some shenanigans, huh? Some shenanigans, I guess. Anyways, guys, you can see we got a lot to get into. Before we do, gonna give some love to the Pleb Underground sponsor, and we will be right back. Let's fucking go. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. All right, we are back, and my background is fixed, and that is great. Okay, so before we actually dive into everything, you guys know that I don't do conferences, right? I don't go to conferences. I don't really like that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's just because in my in my normie life, right before I started just making Bitcoin content, I was traveling all around North America, right, both Canada and the U.S., and just spent a lot of time in hotels and just not being at home. So anyways, when I got into this space, I'm like, no, I don't really care about traveling, and I'm only going to travel when I want to. So all of this long drawn out explanation to say, guys, Pleb Underground is going to be a TabConf. We will be doing the news desk. Going to put a link to TabConf in the show notes. No special link, no ref link or any of that crap. You guys want to come and hang out with us at TabConf in Atlanta, October 13th to the 16th. Come and join us. It's going to be very cool. Actual signal, right? Actual people that are building in the Bitcoin space, right? We're talking about the Bitcoin network, okay? We're not talking about the Bitcoin sales funnel. There's a bit of a difference here. Anyways, okay, done with the TabConf shilling, and we are going to have Mike, the co-founder or the founder of TabConf. Mike is going to be joining us. I'm scheduling that, and he's going to tell us about everything that is going to be going on this year at TabConf. Okay. Anyways, let's go. Let's dive into it. We've got some stories. All right, so starting off, right, we've got BitChat. I think this is pretty cool stuff, right? Bluetooth communications doesn't require an internet connection or a phone number, and end-to-end encryption, right? BitChat goes live, and I gotta say, you know what? I like this kind of cypherpunky interface, right? It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Matrix, but also at the same time, it's kind of nostalgic to me, reminding me of the old days for me when I first learned how to program in GW Basic. That's right. I am a Gen Xer, and it shows. Anyways, all right, good stuff. BitChat, good stuff. Jack Dorsey for working on that. Moving on. Okay, guys, PayPal. Not that I care about PayPal. I don't care about PayPal. But mainstream media does seem to care about PayPal. So we are going to talk about it. And I mean, look, PayPal has been kind of funneling its way into the space, right? There's no surprise. We've heard about PayPal wanting to make a stable coin, and of course they did. And we can see here, PayPal is going to facilitate businesses now accepting Bitcoin, ETH, Litecoin, and PayPal USD. Look, make no mistake that they pepper Bitcoin in there, right? But at the end of the day, it's just about their stable coin, right? It's all about the proliferation of their stable coin. And as you can see at the bottom, I highlighted over here that it adds real world utility. Now, if you don't know what real world utility is, you're not alone. These are just words that are meant to make us feel good about what it is that we're doing, about what it is that we're reading. It's like, oh, wow, PayPal's doing something real. It's going to have real world utility, as opposed to Bitcoin's censorship resistance, the hard cap, the fact that governments can't co-opt it or control it. That's not real world utility. No, this is real world utility. I could buy useless crap with PayPal. Anyways, it's good time. You could buy useless crap with Bitcoin too, by the way. Just putting that out there for everyone. Can buy useless crap with Bitcoin if you want. Okay, so moving on to the next story. Actually, Bitcoin surpassed silver in its market cap. Nobody cares. I don't care. It's not. Are you surprised? Like, I'm not surprised. Yeah, I kind of figured that wasn't a huge story, but I thought it was right. It's worth mentioning, right? Yay, Bitcoin on its way through. I mean, it's no surprise. Bitcoin eating the value of the world. No shocker here. Okay. Anyways, huge news. We're so excited about this, guys. Another company with not enough earnings to stay alive. Hear me out. They're doing the amazing thing. They're going to buy Bitcoin. Okay. That's it. So doesn't matter that their business is struggling, right? Doesn't make a difference. They don't have enough runway to live. Doesn't make a difference that the business isn't really that old and that they haven't been able to create any income. No, what's important is that they're buying Bitcoin today. It's going to pump my bags. All right. So what am I talking about? That's right, Phil. What are you crying about? I am crying about this. Zeus announces, or Zeus, or however you want to pronounce this, announces private placement of $100 million to launch a Bitcoin treasury reserve strategy. Oh my God, that's amazing. And guys, I am not, I always have to repeat this because for some reason the nuanced arguments go right out the freaking window in this space. People just assume you're a hater or a cheerleader. Guys, I want to see great businesses that have proper cash flows, businesses that have real revenues, choosing to put their savings into Bitcoin and storing it in cold storage. Okay. And I want to see them accumulated. You know why I want to see good businesses doing that? Because they can afford to hold Bitcoin through downturns. We're all excited about all these crappy companies, but guess what? None of them are resilient. And you're only going to find out how unresilient they are when the market inevitably turns down, because the markets don't just go up forever. Markets are tied to human behavior. I know it sounds crazy. I know it's totally different than what the influencers are telling you because, they got their bags to shill. But I just don't want to see you get wrecked because I got wrecked once upon a time and it didn't feel good. So, right? Why would I want that for somebody else? Anyways, yeah, I know. Morals, it's out the door. Morals don't make you rich. None of that stuff works. Anyways, okay, so let's take a look at this company, right? They engage in the development, manufacturing, marketing, and selling energy store solutions for electric vehicles in Israel, Germany, United Kingdom, and United States. Okay, so here we go. The revenue is forecast to grow by 57.95%. Forecast. So that's not what we have. It's what we think is going to happen based on projections. So here's what we know. Okay, here's what we know. Earnings have declined by 20.7% over the last 5 years. Wow. It almost seems like a pattern that we see with these companies that are buying Bitcoin. Has less than 1 year of cash runway? Say it ain't so. No way. And of course, yeah, okay, the high volatile share price. I don't care about the share price. Does not have meaningful revenue. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. But wait, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this isn't just a giant pump and dump. Oh, okay. So they came out in what? May of 2024, and already they're already going for the drip, right? It's already happening. Okay. Anyways, guys, yeah, I know. I hate to be it's not that I'm the bearer of bad news. I just want to be objective about these businesses that are coming out, because what's going to happen is that you're going to end up hearing a bunch of noise and you're going to think, well, I've got a little bit of Bitcoin, but if I buy, some shares from some of these companies that are holding Bitcoin, then maybe I can make more. Like, guys, it's just exit liquidity. I know it sounds terrible, okay? But these businesses with all these red flags, this is just exit liquidity for the moment. It doesn't mean that in the future, some of these businesses cannot become profitable and cannot become successful. I'm just saying right now, this is the fire hose, right? This is the fire hose of companies coming out doing this, right? They're striking while the iron's hot, right? They're striking while they can get your dollars. Just remember that. Anyways, that's the way I see it, of course. And of course, everybody is entitled to make whatever decision they want about their own finances. Okay, so next up, I think Francis has a very interesting take on this. The 80K BTC, right? The 80K BTC that Galaxy Digital facilitated selling, right? Approximately $9 billion worth of Bitcoin. This is what Francis had to say. I'm profoundly offended at the idea that someone would inherit 80,000 Bitcoin, declared it, and then dump them all for fiat as part of their fiat accounting scheme. Instead of becoming the Count of Monte Cristo. I hope that's not what happened. Okay. $9 billion, right? And I get it, right? Fiat's, worth, becoming worth less and less and less. And we all know the stories of Weimar Germany and what happened in World War II, and how that money all became completely worthless. And essentially you were paying millions of dollars for a loaf of bread. Now, that being said, there's kind of this, it's not really, I would say it doesn't get said, but it's kind of like a feeling in the space that you're going to live forever. Okay. You're going to be here for infinity. So if you spend any of your Bitcoin, you are not going to have any of that Bitcoin in infinity. Okay. Now, granted, to each their own, right? Do whatever you want. Like, of course, if you're saving your Bitcoin for all of your future generations and stuff like that, by all means, absolutely. But I just don't care that Galaxy Digital facilitated this 80,000 BTC sale for somebody that took $9 billion. Like, maybe, and from what I saw, this could have been part of an estate sale. Granted, I don't think Francis is wrong, right? Like, I personally would have hung on to that 80,000 Bitcoin, but that's just me, right? Like, I'm a pleb. Like, what the hell am I going to do? But it's just so fascinating, right? That somebody, that somebody went off and they just saw it that way. The other thing is, which TXMC Trades brought up, was that, that person went and sold that Bitcoin. And then if they went and just put it into like a high yield savings vehicle or something like that, like, I forget how many hundreds of millions of dollars they're earning every year in interest. Do you really need, like, does it matter anymore? Right? Like, does it? I don't think it does. I don't think it does. So anyways, I think the real takeaway from the 80K Bitcoin being sold, the $9 billion, that is, to me, the only meaningful takeaway is how the market absorbed it and how it was pretty much a blip. I don't think you guys appreciate, I don't even think I appreciate what $9 billion dumped onto the market in 2021 or in 2017 or in 2015 or 2013. Like, guys, this is huge. This is huge in terms of the amount of liquidity that can flow through the Bitcoin network. Like, it's just mind-boggling, and people don't get it. Like, to me, that's the signal. Like, who cares that this guy decided to take a bunch of paper and make that his, his stack? Who cares? Right? It's about what the Bitcoin network can handle, how resilient it is, how quickly that liquidity can just flow. I'm impressed. I'm definitely impressed. Okay. Anyways, moving on here, guys. This is let's take a look at this story. This is Bill Miller, right? For the people who don't know who Bill Miller is, Chief Investment Officer and a portfolio manager. He actually comes from the old TradFi system, Legg Mason. Now, I think most millennials or Gen Zs or anything like that never even heard of Legg Mason, right? But this is like one of these old school Wall Street names, right? It's up there with the JP Morgans and the Moody's and all of that stuff, okay? So all of that to say, this guy understands the TradFi system. He gets it, okay? Now, we're just going to show this video and comment about it because Bill Miller actually said something very interesting here. And let's take a look. Here we go.
What's the most interesting to me, I guess, would be the Clarity Act. specifically because I think the way that it was written grandfathers in certain blockchains and advantages them relative to what would happen if they were launched today. So if you look at the way the legislation was written, it allows technologies like Ethereum and Solana blockchains to be classified as decentralized when they're actually not. And if they were launched today, they would go through a much different process than they're going to go through.
Oh,
fathered in. Now,
sorry,
whether
guys.
or not this technology ultimately gives these other blockchains enough of a step forward on Bitcoin remains to be seen. It is my perspective that the underlying technology will ultimately win the day. So if you look at these grandfathered in technologies like Ethereum and Solana, they're proof of stake technologies. And what that means is if I have a big stake in the blockchain, I get to say what happens. That's exactly how society works today. And it's not.
We're going to stop right there. So for the people who don't understand, right, for the people who are pretending, right, that somehow this proof of stake stuff is new, like this is the Cantillon effect, right? This is the Cantillionaires. He is telling you the quiet part out loud, okay? So all of these businesses that are buying all of these shit coins, okay, and these, you're seeing some of these ETFs piling in like Bobby Lee and whatever the hell he's doing with ETH. They're just doing this to have an outsized advantage over the network. That's really all it is. And then what do you think is going to happen? They're staking all of this crap. Okay. They're going to gain more of those tokens. Then what do you think is going to happen? They are going to dump this stuff onto the market. It's rinse and repeat. If you are buying into this crap, you are buying into the current system of garbage. Okay. It's play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It is really that simple.
Not really a technological revolution. What's so different about Bitcoin is the governance of it and its proof of work consensus mechanism. And so we tend to believe that the energy intensivity that's tied to new creation of Bitcoin is a game-changing technology. And so, you can speculate as to why things like Ethereum have had this pop in the past few weeks. That's my perspective, is because this legislation has helped them have a leg up. I don't think in the end of the day they're going to win.
Nope, they are not. Absolutely right. At the end of the day, they do not win. But in the meantime, right, when you have businesses like this, they can pay for a lot of marketing. They can pay to create a lot of noise and a lot of buzz. I hate to bring up other shit coins like XRP, but that is a perfect example of extreme constant marketing. Okay? There is absolutely nothing in there that is grassroots. There is absolutely nothing in there that has any kinds of qualities that we're actually looking for. Bitcoin is the only real thing in the space. And unfortunately, most people can't get past their own hopium, and they have to get wrecked in order to understand that. I needed to get wrecked in order to understand it. Even though I thought it, I didn't actually believe it. And hey, guess what? 2017, I bought tons of shit coins and I got super wrecked, like minus 99%. And it was brutal, and I had to start all over again from scratch. So, and that, to me, that was an important lesson that had to happen. That had to happen for me. It may not be the same for everyone else. It's perfectly fine. But just saying, like, yep, that's what happened. Okay. Anyways, Bill Miller hits the nail on the head. This guy's kind of spouting the truth. Okay, we are moving on here to the last story. This is one that kind of bothers me a little bit. This is the seed signer stuff. That's right. So fellow Bitcoiner, friend, NVK motivated me to donate even more to the seed signer project. Don't you just love the Streisand effect? And I do, because guess what? We're doing this show right now, right? And we're talking about it. This is one of the stories. So even more Streisand effect, right? Let's dive into it here. And just give me a sec. Sorry, guys. Okay, so what is he talking about, right? What exactly is he talking about? So this is a post from Seed, okay? There's the guy who started Seed Signer. Yesterday, I was reminded that since 2021, so pay attention to that. Yesterday, he was reminded that since 2021, so he's known about this for 4 years, right? NVK has owned and redirected seedsigner.org, seedsigner.net, and airgapcomputer.com. This realistically doesn't impact the project much, but it is yet another example of his ill will towards Seed Signer. And I got to tell you guys, I don't disagree with this in any way. I've been in this space long enough that you kind of get to know not necessarily people's personalities, but the way that they work. Yeah, and it's actually a little bit worse than this, right? It is actually a little bit worse because Seed went on to explain, several people have reached out about this. There are apparently at least 10 URLs, okay, that were purchased on 5 separate days over a period of 3.5 years. All appear to have the same owner. Some of them seem intended to interfere with our ability to fundraise or accept donations. I honestly could see this sort of thing as a one-off or as a mean joke if you're having a bad day, but the pattern comes across as something different. And in all fairness, I cannot disagree with this. And I could show you here. I went to I tried to go to seedsigner.org, right? Tried to go to seedsigner.org, and what did I end up getting? I ended up getting the dark Skippy disclosure, which, by the way, guys, when this first came out about Seed Signer, I actually did a whole video essentially debunking the dark Skippy hack. Now, I'm not saying that the dark Skippy hack wasn't real, because of course it was. But I think something that's very important, because I did, unfortunately, I did work in technical support, and I did work with engineers, and I was a troubleshooter for 20 years. So I have somewhat of intimate knowledge when it comes to perception and reality of issues. Okay. And the reality is that in order for somebody to get your device and be able to do this, there are a lot of conditions which must exist, and it's not as simple as it seems. However, the perception is that it could happen to anyone at any time, and it's simple. Everyone's just got the skills to do it. That's just not the case. Okay, that is just absolutely not the case. And here's another post here from Seed, right? That has to do with the Seed Signer. So it makes no sense whatsoever and constitutes yet another one of his vague, baseless allegations about the Seed Signer project. So you remember the post I just showed you guys about how Seed was aware that since 2021 somebody's been buying those domains. So this is from NVK today. If it takes someone 4 years to realize their security project domain points to something they don't like, just imagine the code bugs they didn't realize they might have. So I want you guys to imagine for a second, you have the most popular signing device project in the Bitcoin space. Not only that, but you've had the biggest influencers killing your product ad nauseum for years. Okay. So you've got these two things. And then on top of that, you have somehow, and again, maybe seemingly an outsized influence over the OpenSats organization that provides donations for these projects. And yet you still are going to cry about a free open source project. You're going to cry about Seed Signer. I'd really like to know what sales Seed Signer has taken from Coldcard. And the reason I say this is because I have both products. I had an MK3, I have an MK4, I've got the Q, I've got 3 Seed Signers. I mean, yeah, I get it. There's no reason to have all this crap. I totally get that. But I like buying hardware, and I think it's fun to test. And I like having multiple ones, so in case I break one, I could use another one. Now, all of this to say, the person that's going out that is buying the Coldcard marketing, I don't actually think that person, I don't think that Seed Signer is causing Coldcard to lose sales. And something I ended up learning is that, there's different ways of doing competition, right? You can be an underhanded kind of scummy competitor, right? That goes and poisons the well for your competition, or you can compete gracefully. And in all fairness, it doesn't make a difference. There are no rules. There's no laws against this, right? There's nothing stopping NVK from doing what it is that he's doing. And there's nothing preventing Seed Signer from choosing a different route to compete against Coldcard if he wants, right? There really isn't. It's just a personal choice, and it's a personal preference. So, you know what? Once I started to learn that this is how, this is how NVK was treating, his competition. Well, guess what? I can make the choice now to not purchase any of the cold card products anymore, right? That's my choice. I can also choose to go and donate regularly to Seed Signer and help his project out more because I agree more with his ethos. That power is within each of us. Okay. We are individuals, and we are empowered to make those decisions for ourselves. Anyways, yeah, man, not a good look, NVK. I'm sorry. It's just not a good look. It's kind of embarrassing. It's been going on for years, and you can do better. You have a great product. I don't think you need to do this petty shit. But anyways, just my personal opinion, guys. That does it for us. That does it for today's live episode. You know the deal. We're going to have another one tomorrow. Have a great rest of the day, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Take it easy.